Hey guys, Decay for Keep. So recently I completed all of State of Decay. I completed every achievement, as you can see right here. And I thought it would be good to do a set of videos, a tutorial series if you like, on how to play the game. And what I found worked best for me. So yeah, these certain set of videos are going to be instructing you on how the best base choices, what to prioritise in building, outpost coverage, things like that. And they're going to be structured out into separate videos, probably about 5 videos overall, because there's going to be so much to cover and so much to fit in. So this first video is going to be showing you the best base choices you can pick, the base building priority, what to prioritise, and the best bases for outposts and where to situate your outposts. Okay, let's get on with the video. Okay, so whether you're playing either breakdown or the base game, if you're playing a base game, so this will be more suited to once you're, spoiler alert, once you're at the church and you've got a choice to make where you want to go after that sort of thing. But this is probably more catered towards breakdown, as it's more relevant to that, I guess. So base choice, your home site choice. Where'd you go? It's your playthrough, so choose whatever the hell you like. My personal favourite, just from my aesthetics and me having quite an introverted personality, I like the McCready farmhouse, which is in the middle of the map. I'll show you a picture right now. And I like Savini as well, just because it looks cool with the walls and stuff. But for efficiency, you either need to choose Snyder, warehouse, or the fairgrounds. All the other bases are pretty much mediocre in regards to the building spots they have, their outpost coverage, and the amount of resources they have nearby to scavenge. Let's go over this a bit more in depth though. When choosing a base, you need to look at 4 aspects. Number 1, you need to have a look at the number of building spots they have. So the maximum amount of spots to build on. Each base will typically have inbuilt facilities, such as a bedroom or a kitchen. But at this, we'll be looking at things you can build on yourself and where you can upgrade, because inbuilt facilities you can't upgrade. Okay. Number 2 is the number of outposts and the coverage of those outposts, such as do they create a safe haven around your base. But we'll go over this later on in the video. Outposts are quite an important aspect if you want your community to survive once you're away from game. Number 3 is how close are the resources. So how many houses, how many nodes or resources are there that you can pillage and scavenge from? Because that's another important aspect to this game, is how close. You don't want to be traipsing all over the map just to get a little bit of food or a little bit of medicine, you know. So we'll be looking at that. And finally, last but not least, number 4 is natural defences of the base. Now quite a lot of people won't look at this, but in regards to your community's safety and taking care of hordes easily, this is quite an important aspect as well, to be honest. Not as important as the others, this is why it's number 4, but quite important nonetheless. And we'll go over that once we go over the 3 worthy bases, or as I call them, later on in the video. So overall, there are a total of 8 home sites to choose from, but there are only, as I said earlier, 3 bases that have a worthy choice if you want to go for the efficiency route, which is probably why you're watching this video, if you want to know how to do well in the game. So the first one is the Snyder Trucking Warehouse. This is in Marshall, Trumbull County Fairgrounds. That's over at the county fairgrounds, obviously, and the Savini residence, which you encounter in the main story. Spoiler alert. And that's also in Marshall. But that's the overview. Let's get on with the actual guide, shall we? Let's start with Savini. So at some point in the storyline in the actual base game of State of Decay, you'll get a quest to actually come and find this residence and settle down in it if you really want to. But this is where it is, as you can see now. It's close to the middle of Marshall and just on the outskirts with some awesome natural defences to it. So if you're playing breakdown, this Savini residence is perhaps the best home site to start from, as it only requires 5 people and 30 building materials. If you're in a base game, it requires 8 survivors and 30 building materials. This home site has 3 parking spaces, which is average, but you can always store cars outside. It has 6 possible outpost slots, which is fairly average as well. And it has 3 possible building spots, with the home site already having a bedroom, kitchen, library and a watchtower. But the watchtower you can't upgrade, so that's the drawback of that one. But the best thing I like about this starter residence is the natural defences, because it can only be attacked from the front, because around the back and the side it's virtually on a cliff, and to next to the watchtower, it has a bridge where you can funnel hordes down, and it also has like a T-junction at the front where you can funnel hordes and set up outposts as well. But overall, Savini is a very sturdy residence to start off with if you're lacking resources and manpower. What I normally do is in breakdown, I'd come over to here and I would set up here. So I've got loads of resources to choose from, and I'm also close to the Snyder trucking warehouse once I have enough people and I have enough resources. There's another contender for starting home, which is the Kirkman residence over in the starting area next to the church, but I just find the natural defences of that to be a little bit too hard to start off with, as you've got to build outposts all around it to have a safe haven, whereas here it's only one side you can get attacked from. Now, when we're looking at base choice for medium to late game, there's two possible choices. There's the County Fairgrounds and the Snyder trucking warehouse. I'm always trouble saying that for some reason. But when we're looking at all four aspects of choosing the best base, Snyder comes out on top. It has 4 parking spaces, 8 possible outposts, it has 3 building spots plus an upgradable watchtower spot, and it has inbuilt facilities that are a bedroom, storage and workshop. The natural defence isn't the best, but it's a lot better than County Fairgrounds. Natural defences of this base, it's quite a large area to cover, but you do have a view all around with the chain link fence, which is good, and the Zeds typically only come from 2 areas, which is I think the left and the front. So as well as the amount of building spots you get and the abundance of outposts, which is amazing because you can create such a massive safe haven with the coverage if you do it properly, there's loads of resources nearby, and that's key in this game. Whereas the County Fairgrounds, it's quite far out, and once you've pillaged all the surrounding areas, it's scarce and you have to travel miles just to get to any other resources. So this is why Snyder trucking warehouse just comes on top in efficiency over everything, to be honest. So in my opinion, the 2 best base choices are the Savini residence for your starting home, and later on in the game the Snyder trucking warehouse. Okay, that's what I found has the most efficiency and allowed my community to survive even when away from game. Okay, now we have the base choices out of the way, let's get on what's the best thing to build first and the priority of what you should build. So when choosing what to build first in your base, you need to think about a few things. How are you going to heal your sick or injured survivors? How are you going to repair your weapons and cars? What do you need to start upgrading other facilities? And where are your survivors going to sleep? Once you figure out these aspects, the game becomes pretty easy and straightforward, to be honest. But in this segment of the video, I'm just going to show you what you should prioritise first in regards to buildings and what you should utilise in your building spots. So I'm doing this video coming from the point of view that you know what you're kind of doing and how things work. If you don't, to access the building tab in your journal, you press tab on the keyboard on your PC or on the up button on the D-pad on your controller. Okay, this will bring up your journal. Now you just swing across over to here. This will show all your possessions, what you have, your labour, your beds, etc. Now go over to this tab, and this shows your building spots and where you can build. Now on certain spots you can only build certain things, so the blue squares are interior, so you can't build a garden indoors, but you can build a garden outdoors, which are the green squares. Okay, I haven't got enough materials at the moment, but once you have enough materials you can build certain things such as a basic workshop, sleeping area, medical area, training area and your garden. Okay, we'll come out quickly. And also when you move into a new facility, you'll have the chance to repair the current facilities that are already built. So for instance, you just click on the red facility, and you click on set up kitchen or set up whatever it is, and in a minute your survivors will repair that and it'll be a brand spanking new facility. So in regards to what you want to build first, always without a doubt build a medical area. It's the most important thing ever. Building a medical area will give you extra vitality once you start upgrading it, and it will heal your settlers faster, and it will repair injuries better, and you have a higher chance of sick residents such as here becoming not gravely ill anymore and not dying or running away. Now after that you need to build a sleeping area if it doesn't already have one. If it doesn't have 8 slots, okay, most of the facilities come with a bedroom already in there and that have 8 slots. If you start going above 16 residents, you may want to build another bedroom, okay, and upgrade that once you have the materials. And this will stop people from becoming tired, as you can see here, and you'll have a much bigger stamina bar that way, and you won't die from getting eaten by zombies. Now once you have built your medical area and upgraded it a little bit, and you have adequate sleeping spots, the next protocol is to do a workshop. Now when you have a workshop, you can do loads of things with it, but its main purpose that we want is to repair our weapons. So every day cycle it will repair your weapons in your inventory and in the locker, and this stops your items from breaking, okay? So it stops your swords and etc. from breaking, and your guns. Now after you've built your medical area first, you make sure you've got enough sleeping spaces, and you built a workshop, it's pretty much down to you what you build from there. So if you're having trouble finding food, you can build a garden. If you're having trouble with storage, build a storage area. And if you want your survivors to gain XP from fighting, you can build a training area, and this also gives everyone more stamina. So a training area is a good thing to put up, to be honest. But before you start building those like optional facilities, always make sure your infirmary or medical area is upgraded fully, your sleeping area is upgraded, and your workshop is upgraded as much as you can. Now, I may do another video going over advanced buildings, but this is just a basic guide for you to pick up and get on with, and give your community a larger chance of success, okay? But that's it for regards of priority of buildings. After you've built your infirmary and you have enough beds and your workshop, you can actually build a library, as libraries improve your wits, and you can build other things with that. Again, I'll go over that with an advanced building guide, I guess. But as long as you make sure you've got your medical area, enough sleeping spaces, and your workshop, build your library up, and you should be cushy from there. Now once you've figured out what base you want to settle down in and what buildings you want to build, the next protocol is to build your outposts. Now outposts in State of Decay is a pretty cool feature. It allows the survivors to go into a building and you make sure it's cleared, make sure you search for all the loot, and you can set up an outpost, and that just gives a nice big circle on the mini-map where zombies can't spawn, and if hordes go through them, they explode into bits. As well as creating a safer zone for your community, it also gives your survivors an extra chance of coming back if they're missing and run away. And it also just allows you to, if you're out scavenging, you can go to the outpost, you go to the storage locker there, and you can deposit all your items, and you can go back out looting things. Right, so before we establish the outpost, what we need to do is you need to search every room and make sure the building is clear from zombies. Now when you search every room, you need to make sure you go over the little circles as you can see on the screen here, and once those circles disappear, the building will be classed as searched, and that room will be classed as searched, and it'll have a nice little white circle around the building. Now if that white circle hasn't come out, that means you haven't cleared the rooms properly and there's still a zombie lying down somewhere, or there's a couple of Zeds outside waiting for you. So to go outside the building, make sure you killed every zombie in the radius of that building you're trying to clear, go back in, and it should come up as clear. Now once you have cleared the building, as explained, you need to search the building for loot. Now when you're searching the building for loot, you'll know what things to search because they'll glow a bright white sort of colour. But when you go looting around the building, try not to pick everything up, because once we search that building, you'll be able to just go back where you came from and pick up all the loot you missed. So there's no worries if you can't pick everything up. And also a vital step here is if you want the building to be a certain type of material, because once you establish an outpost, say for instance in the demo I'm showing you here, this is a gun shop. If you leave the ammo in the storage, it will come up as a little ammo sign. And then once you set up the outpost, what that means is if you can keep the outpost maintained properly, you'll get that resource every day cycle. So that's a good way to get the resources if you're lacking. And we'll go over that in a little bit. But for instance, just for now, we're going to go over how you can set up an outpost. So once you've searched everything, you've cleared the building, now you can set up the outpost. What you need to do is, if you're on PC and you're using keyboard, you press Alt and that will bring up this. If you're using a controller, just press down on a D-pad and that'll bring up your radio. And from here, you go to Establish Outpost, click on that, For this you need 50 influence though, so if you haven't got enough influence, go and do some missions, or you can just gather materials that way. It's a good way of getting influence up. Once you radioed in and you're set up, you should have a nice storage area. Typically it's upstairs or in a point of entry. For instance, in this one, it's upstairs for me. Now, once you're set up, you can just grab everything you missed, pull it into a locker, and grab your materials. You can now grab all the materials that you wanted to keep in a storage, so you could keep it as a like ammo outpost for me now. Lob it in the car, take it back to your main base, because you can't return materials at outposts. Now we've gone over how you can actually establish an outpost, and once you've done all your scavenging and you've returned all your resources back to base, I just want to go over briefly where exactly do you actually establish the outpost. When establishing an outpost, you want to keep a couple things in mind when you do establish your outposts. One, you need to think about how they're going to intercept hordes. Two, how are they going to protect your base the most efficient way. And three, obviously we explained a little bit earlier what resources they have, such as construction materials, ammo, medical supplies, etc. Let's talk about resources first, because I've already brushed over that. When you're looking for outposts, you typically want an outpost to provide you with a resource of some kind. You don't want it to be a bare outpost. See, I'd rather have an outpost that's slightly out of my safe haven area, and for it to have construction materials and for it to be bare. It's so vital that you can do this, because it'll bolster up your resources at the end of each day. But Folky, what resource is the best resource to have as an outpost? I'm glad you asked. What I cherish the most in an outpost, and for it to be resources wise, is two things: construction materials and ammo. If an outpost has either construction materials or ammo, I establish an outpost there straight away, as this helps the early game so much in regards to building up your base and protecting your base. Then after that, perhaps medical supplies and food. I wouldn't even have an outpost with fuel. It's just so inefficient in my opinion, as you hardly use fuel. Once you're established in your game, what sort of outpost resource you want to have? You want to look at its location. As you can see in the video, this is like the perfect outpost really. It's on the corner, it's on two roads, because hordes go down roads the most. They don't typically go over country. Very rarely you'll see a horde over country. So you've got 2 points of focus for them to blow up hordes, and it's an ammo supply, so it's perfect. And then once you have a few of these outposts intertwined and strung together, it will start to create a nice safe haven for your community, and this will ensure survival when you're away from game for a few days. Now a little tip too, if you have enough fuel, you can actually go into your home base. When you're back up in your home site, you go to your journal, go along to the buildings area, and down at the bottom you have the number of outposts, and down here you can click on each outpost you have, and so just click on one of them, anyone, don't really matter, and there you'll have an option to increase the protection area, and this creates a massive circle. And this is awesome if you've got a horde scenario and there's loads of hordes coming towards base. Just set up that, and easy peasy if you've got a few outposts around your base. And that's it folks in regards to building bases and outpost coverage and etc. So you should know how to choose the best base. You should now know how and what to build in your base of choice, and you should now know how to set up an outpost for the best efficiency and to help you throughout the game. I think the next episode in this tutorial series will probably be about how to scavenge properly and how to increase your chances of coming back alive. So yeah, if this video helped you, give it a like cut, give it a thumbs up for me. If it doesn't, give it a dislike. If you have any questions, pop them down in the comment section down below and I'll try and get back to you. Hope it's helped you out, and I'll see you next time guys.